and it told 5 stories, one book. Amazing. It's got our brains on fire, I tell you. Hello everyone. In the spirit of documenting my illustration journey, I'm going to give you the 411 about the Lagos International Festival of Illustrations, which held between September 18th and the 20th last month. Okay, so it was, I would consider LIFI for short, worth the investment of my time and energy. Now, this event was hosted by Bookstorm and Bookboss. It held at WIDA. WIDA is seen to the average person as a bookshop somewhere in Okwebe at Ikeja, but it's not. It's really more than that. I would say WIDA is like a secretariat and incubator, because if you're an artist, if you're an illustrator, if you're an editor, if you're a publisher, you should have one foot in WIDA. You know, we draw blood from WIDA, so to say, here in Nigeria. And WIDA got 9 illustrators from 3 parts of the world, Spain, Slovenia, and Latin America, to Lagos, courtesy of the European Union, the Lagos State government, of course, Sterling Bank, and some other sponsors. It was the first of its kind, so that was actually a debut event. I was so honored to be selected, because you had to go through a selection process where you'd answer a couple of questions, submit your portfolio, and then you'd be picked as one of the 45 illustrators. So I count myself blessed. Now, it was a 3-day program packed full. It just wasn't about talk. You had to get your hands dirty. You had to work for for your nomination, so to say. And you have to justify that space that you were occupying throughout the event. So day 1, we were split into groups of, let's say, approximately 15-15, because if we were 45 illustrators, splitting us into 3 would be 15. And there were 3 illustrators assigned to you for each day. So for me, I was in group B. And first day we were with the illustrators from Spain, and the next day we were with the illustrators from Slovenia, and the last day we were with the illustrators from Latin America. So this is what went down. Now, day 1 in Spain, so it's an 8 to 6 event, 8 in the morning, 6 in the evening. And in the morning, the 3 illustrators from Spain came up, told us about their work. So each illustrator had time apportioned to them to tell us their illustration journey. So how did they start? What inspired them? The books they've illustrated, the publishers they work with, their illustration style, because of course there was a projector, and they told us they took us a bit into their world. Each illustrator got that, and after that we went to our class. So we had Marta, Miriam, and Emma from Spain, and we started with a card game. And what they tried to do was basically deconstruct the way we think about stories. I think the first round of cards, they said that card game was very popular from Spain. And we were made to pick a card that resonates with the way we tell stories. And of course, as all of you know, I do a lot of anthropomorphic characters, animals that behave like humans. And I saw this card that really, spoke to my work or represented my work. And all of us picked, and everybody talked about what that card meant to them. And we were made to sit, and we were taught about how to storyboard. A part of that class had to do with colors. I'm not going to go really into details, and Rich just mentioned a bit of each thing we learned. Okay, so when it came to the storytelling process, they taught us that you could the normal way to think, I'm simplifying it for those who aren't illustrators. So the normal way to think will be from story to illustration. Like I do, a client already has their manuscript and I work it out. Or even for me, I get my own manuscript fine-tuned and then I work. So they made us know that from random photos, you could tell a story, so it could work the other way around. And then they made us create like a scene from a book or a spread from a book, spread an illustration for a book. And they gave us the ideas to work with. So let's just say in my first illustration. I probably drew a rhino and a geese, I think. No, it wasn't a rhino. Well, I think it was an elephant, a hippo, and a duck, and interacting with each other. And I thought that was a story about bullying. And they said discard that. Well, not entirely discard. You put it on the storyboard. And then they made you redraw that same concept without those two original characters. So I thought about it, and I thought a throw pillow and a throw cushion and a pillow could illustrate that again. And they said discard that. And they made us do it again. And I thought a teapot and a jug could do that. So you have these three things. And everybody went through it. And when we finished, all these were drawn on cards, all the cards were mixed up, and everybody picked up whatever random illustration it was. And we started telling a story. And we saw that even though all these ideas came from different people, we could tell a story. So for me, I picked up a card that had a little girl with a heart, and the person that was supposed to narrate before me had something to do with a dragon, and he said something about being captured in the dragon's den. And then when it came to my turn, I looked at it and I would say, oh yes, when I was in the dragon's den, I thought about my mother's love, because that was what that illustration spoke to me at that moment. And the other person followed on, and we, came full circle. We told the story. The story chain was complete, and we did a couple of other things, and then we went to portfolio review, which was like one of the most anticipated things for me for that event. And I saw some brilliant portfolios. I even knew at that moment that I had to change my portfolio format, because I am self-taught. I don't know how it's done in art school. I've tried to read up some things, but I just know at this stage I actually felt portfolios, the way I was presenting my work was robbing me of work or professional opportunities. So it was nice to see what other people who went to art school did. Okay, so seeing those portfolios in class helped me to have an idea of how a professional portfolio should be done. It was so eye-opening. And when it came to my critical, that's so long for this portfolio review. Yeah, it was my most anticipated part of the class. I think Miriam spoke first, and she said that her critique about my portfolio was that she thought I spread myself too thin across social media, because she noticed I was on LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and the work. So she said she felt if I had focused on one particular platform, I'd get more results, get art directors, probably get an agent. She suggested, she said for her, she concentrates on IG, Instagram. And I thought that was interesting, because that's the one platform I just find it hard creating content for, showcasing my work in. And it was nice. She said all the art directors, everybody who is who in children's book illustration are on IG. Great. I'll do IG more. So when it came to Martha's turn, she said she'd seen me sketch in class, and that I had very good sketching skills. She liked the way I drew. And she said when she saw my finished work, she was like a bit disappointed. She said she really wanted to see a much more organic style in my finished work, where my pencil lines will show through. And I found that very interesting. And she encouraged me not to do too much rendering and finish my work to the fullest, where it's like almost 3D. And I like that. I liked hearing that. I had actually been thinking to myself that after I get my third book done, Why the Spider Lives in the Web, that I'm going to do a book that has human characters, because the work I've done for clients is largely with human characters, really not animal characters. So I just wanted to do a personal project with human characters to be able to showcase my work. And with that critique, I'm going to apply it. I'm going to try to do a more organic style of illustration. So the last illustrator, Emma, said she thought I should pursue grants. And that is interesting, and I'll tell you why in a minute. She said that if I had grants, I would relax a bit more and be able to focus on creating very unique pieces that could attract art directors, illustration agents, and the work. So I said, when you say grants, I thinking I should pursue business grants or personal grants. And she said personal grants are better for artists, which I knew, of course, and business, but whichever way, business grants, personal grants, just get grants. And this is why I found that interesting. This year, my blood, sweat, and tears have been spent pursuing grants. And I'm currently shortlisted. I got shortlisted on 3. One was eventually dropped, and now I'm pursuing 2. And so that is it. You know, I do my illustration, I do client work, but I also run a publishing business, is a little publishing business that I'm trying to grow and get up, you know, get more people, more hands-on, and also there's a need to grow this business, and I don't want to do it with a loan. I want it to be organic, so I've been pursuing grants. So this year I've been more of my business side has been tested a bit more, and has actually, that's why my 3rd book isn't even out as at now, because it's not a distraction. It's just that my energy shifted a bit. So it was very interesting for Matt to say that, and I appreciated that. So we go to day 2. So day 2, we go to Slovenia, and we meet Matej, Masha, and Eva. It started off with Matej, and he took us through a very fast tour of storyboarding in a breeze. It's storyboarding in 20 seconds. So you get this book idea. For me, I know storyboarding is a challenge for me. I don't know whether it's because I didn't go to art school, because I notice a lot of people who go to art school, even before you say they just have the storyboard. I struggle a bit with it. I just sketch every spread as I go. With clients, it's been a struggle, but some clients accept when I don't storyboard. Some don't. Some insist on the storyboard. So he just taught us how to get it out in seconds, and you know, just use stick figures, use basic shapes, get a sheet of paper, just wing it, and then before you now go again, develop it, and then fine tune. And that was very, very helpful. And with Matej, it was very interesting, because Matej and I had been Instagram friends, and I walk into class and he's like, I know you from Instagram, and that was when it clicked. Oh, it's you, you know. So it was quite an interesting one. And was it Masha? Yes, it was Masha who took us through a very interesting way of working with traditional mediums. So she's done. She's an award-winning illustrator, and she's illustrated prehistory books to do with dinosaurs. And there's a transfer technique she uses where, you know, she could do the drawing and then transfer it chemically onto traditional mediums, and it just looks great. It's better seen and experienced. Then those things could even be further animated. There's a way she develops how to animate it using an analog technique. So you see these diamonds running, eating, you know, whatever, in their activities, in their element, and it's very, very interesting. And we were made to work. We did collage. We were supervised, we were guided, so we were given themes, and different ideas. You pick yours, you brainstorm, and then you do a collage. It's, you know, present it, and then there's a critic session, you know, what you did. It was really, really interesting. I saw, I was challenged at a certain point, though my work came out well, but it was really good to see others in class do different things, and you know, it makes your mind wander to the possibilities. So that was it for day 2, and day 3 we go to Latin America. So day 3, Latin America, and we are with Gina, Caio, and Geraldine. It took me a while to be able to pronounce Caio's name. Sorry, Caio. Well, now I know it's Caio. So we go into class. That was a very interesting session, by the way. We were introduced fully to silent picture books. So I had seen, I'm very familiar with silent picture books. It had evoked my curiosity, but to see it in a live demonstration, it was, it even increased my interest to work on one. So there was this particular picture book that intrigued me. It was the silent, and intrigued most members of our class anyway. It was a silent picture book about Firefly. And this is the thing with that book. When you flip it from beginning to end, which is the way we know how to flip books, and you focus on one character, it tells one story. So if you're flipping it from left to right, yeah, left to right to the end, and you focus on the fly, you're going to have one story. Then you get to the end, and you focus on, say, the white rabbit, and you go back to the page one. You've told yourself another story. Then you focus on another character. Say there were birds on the page. You will go through. The child would have been immersed in another story, and it told 5 stories, one book, 5 different stories. Amazing. So I love that a lot. It's got our brains on fire, I tell you. So we went through that book, and we did another collage. So we were tasked to pick an animal. It could be with a character, which could have been like an animal. Think of a proverb and something else I've forgotten. The briefs for every day was different, and we now had to do a collage, which is like an illustration telling a story. So people pick random things. It's very hard for 2 people to pick the same thing, and even where 2 people pick the same thing, the interpretation would have been different. So that was it. I think Kayo really commended my work, and I don't have a photo of that work. I'm going to see whether somebody can send me the photo from Weda. And it was nice seeing how people think. Creativity was really brought alive in the class. I just knew. I don't know why I struggled on day 3, but that's by the way. Then the second activity had to do more with the silent picture book thing again. But in this one, we were given a poem. I think it was by a Brazilian poet or something, they explained. And with this poem, you were supposed to, break it apart and develop illustrations, but the illustrations were supposed to be metaphorical. So if a line said something, the poem has something to do with a boy with a sieve. And you could illustrate the boy and the sieve if you didn't get those instructions, but they wanted you to do something completely different. Truth be told, that class, I really, really, really struggled. I don't know why I really struggled. I didn't end up doing anything metaphorical, so to say, but, well, I did, but it wasn't to the degree I wanted. So when the critic came, I saw what others did, and they told me, like, man, Viv, you have to start getting very creative and thinking. So, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very well. And then the portfolio review, Gina critiqued my work, and she said she wanted to see more uniqueness in my work. There's this particular spread from How the Tortoise Broke Its Shell, where I have a crowd illustration. It's like royalty. It's like in a king's palace. The tortoise and the birds are singing. The king and the queen are there. And then she said that crowd illustration is very unique. I know the technique I used. I did illustrations, removed the facial features, really simplified it, but blurred it. So she said it could lead to something. She would like to see me do more work like that, more original work in my portfolio. I said, okay, fine. You do things, you don't just know where it may lead. And Cairo didn't even get to review my work till he got back to Brazil. And he was so gracious to send me a full critique. So he said, is it that you illustrate or you write? And I said, I do a bit of both. When I don't have client work, I do my own work. He said, oh, okay, fine. He said he'd like me to do a research and look for illustrators. I love their work and collect them. So maybe into a swipe file or folder. I should do as many of these illustrators that I want. I see something that is interesting, like several of them were shown in class, which is why I really would want a collation of all those illustrations. So they said I should do some research, that I'm going to see a lot of illustrators I like their work, and probably illustrators that don't work in my style. When I have all this together, I should do illustrations and try to put some things from those illustrators into my work, and that he knows my portfolio will be richer and much more unique. So that was a brilliant idea. I had already told myself I was going to do it, but having it emphasized or re-emphasized by someone who taught you is and an illustrator who knows their onions, it's quite different. So like it's a task. I'm working to say I did it. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. He also said he'd like to see my work in 2D. And for me, that's interesting because I think that's another area I'd like to explore. So with rounding up on day 3, we gather in the sunroom, and the awards presentations. So we gather in the sunroom, we have the awards, the presentation, vote of thanks. I got to talk. I'll probably put my speech at the end of this video. Among everything we went back to, I think this was what I was so pleased to come back with. And why was I pleased with it? It is actually, from what I understand, this was compiled during, it was like a souvenir at the Bologna Children's Book Fair. So it was given out at the Bologna, I was right, it was given out at the Bologna Book Fair. And this has different, remember what I told you that Kaya said I should do? This is half of the work. So you have, like, this is Marsha's work, the dinosaur thing I had mentioned in the video, and you have different illustrators, works of different illustrators, different works. So by looking at it, I have already started to brainstorm. One of my favorite people is here. Oh, I just went past this illustrator. Ta-da! That's Matej. And that immediately I saw this, I loved it. And when I flung it, and so it was him. I was so pleased. So I love his work. And several of them. It's so handy. It's so handy, and you get several ideas from them. So this is my best thing. In Nigeria, which was one of the things I said at my closing speech, there are I don't even know of any department of illustration in any arts faculty in Nigeria. And then when you say children's book illustration, I don't even think it's a thing. So the Lagos International Festival of Illustrations, it's where any children's book illustrator would want to be. This debut one, I have my ears to the ground. I'm not going to miss anyone as far as I'm alive. So thank you so much, Bookstorm, Books Wida, Lola Shani, the European Union, Lagos State Government. Thank you for putting all this through. I'm so glad I was selected. I do it all over again. And thank you to the 9 beautiful illustrators with their beautiful hearts and their amazing talents who came all the way to Nigeria to have us mentor us and to sharpen us. It was so interesting being with them. Like I said, if you are a children's book illustrator or you're aspiring to be one, please don't miss LIFI 2026. You're doing yourself a disservice if you do. Thank you everyone. See you in my next video. I believe I will either be talking about my new book or I will be talking about my grant journey. So stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Okay, now I'm going to be calling Kayode Odunuga and Vivian from Group B to share a few comments as well.
evening, everyone. What we actually had, you call it LIFI, but we had 3 days masterclass in illustration. And we had, when you grade illustrators in the international market, 2 things matter. How long have they been on the job? Their clients, actually 3 things. The clients they've worked for, and also how big and versatile their portfolio is. I can tell without a doubt we had the best. We had the creme de la creme. Thank you so much. If I had a career outside visual arts and only embraced visual arts, I think since 2016, if you cost this particular course we have, many of you would not know, it's close to $10,000 per head. And we did not just get it free, we also got alawi on top. Then Book Buzz, Bookstorm, and Weed. I don't know why you people leave out Weeda. Please, a round of applause for Weeda. Book Buzz, Bookstorm, and Weeda fed us like, I think I've added. I'll go to the gym from tomorrow. I promise. What else? Those master classes started, Lola was right. Most of us are self-taught. Correct me if I'm wrong, particularly the people from Lagos, like Unilag and Yabatek. We don't have illustration as a department. And even if we do, there's nothing niche down to children's book illustration, which is my own specialty. But they handheld us, from when Miriam, Martha, and Emma took us here. Sorry, my class started here, taking us back to the basics. Look at what other illustrators are doing. Color, the elements. We went, that was Spain. Then we went to Slovenia and Mated. Ava and Masha took us again. We started looking at it and, thumbnailing very, very fast. So today, rounded it up in Latin America with Chao, Greta, and Geraldine. Am I right? Gina. I'm sorry, Gina. So we've had it. We've had, I don't think in Nigeria, nothing like this has been done. Please call me next time. Don't even call me. I'm watching you with one eye open. I'd like to send a special shout out to Lola and Toby. And this is why. Geraldine advocated for people that were above, that were not within the age bracket to be included. Before she did that, I sent a word to them, and they considered me. I'm very grateful for that. What I'm most grateful for is the portfolio review. Because you just work in individual shells and you don't know what each other is doing. You don't know if you're doing well, you don't know if you're not even doing anything else. So it has helped all of us gauge, particularly me. I now know what I'm doing well and should do more of. I now know what I should shred. I now know what I should do list of. And I now know the new things to add to my portfolio. And I'm so happy that after this event, we're not just going to have illustration, Nigerian illustration. Nigerian children's books are going to be sitting on the 3 biggest bookshops in the world. Barnes and Nobles in the US, Waterstones in the UK, and the Amazon bookshelf. Thank you very
much. Good evening, everyone. So I just want to say a big thank you to Lola for this opportunity, to Wither, to Bookstorm, and the Book Foundation. So it's been an awesome experience, and it got me to think much more and to apply whatever I've learned in the healthcare sector. And today's class was so awesome to see a book that had, from the front you could see it had a new name, from the back you could see it had a new name, and every page was communicating an information. And it got me to be creative, to think about how well could we apply this same thing in communicating health knowledge. And this is my first time having this kind of opportunity, and I'm very grateful because I know that it's quite expensive to do this for free of charge, to even feed us. I'm getting much fatter now. My tummy is coming out very well. So Wida, thank you very much. and I will do a project and impress you. Thank you very much.
That's a promise, right? Okay, now, Vivian Uwakwe. Vivi. Yemi si Ajetumobi.